Hey, everybody, Tim Shaw here, and I'm so glad that you're here. It's a Wednesday night, and we've got a great show for you tonight. You're going to have to forgive my voice. My voice is a little bit hoarse. We've had nothing but about a week of rain here in Western New York, and it takes a hit on it every time. Anyway, hey, a lot of you guys have been asking, what's next? What are we doing next? Where am I going to be next? Well, check out Dragonfly Art and Soul in Williamsville, New York. I'm going to be doing a talk about one of my favorite things. What else? Victorian morning ritual, and I'm going to have some stuff out there, and I'm going to, pack up a little bit of the collection for you guys to enjoy. I believe it's the 18th. Come on out and hang, because it's just fun to do. It's just fun to do. Anyway, I'm not going to go and really just get too crazy with this introduction, but I can't help it. These guys are, you know what? I get a chance to meet a lot of people in the industry, in the paranormal industry, a lot of people in the film industry, a lot of indie people, a lot of radio people. But I got to tell you what, right from the beginning, right from the very, very, very beginning, when I first met these two guys, they were always just really probably two of the nicest guys that I've ever met in my entire life. And I really have to say that they've never forgotten about me, even though when I took a step back, and they've always been around. We all hung out. How can you beat hanging out and feeling like the little person? When I walk down the street, I have a Klinge brother on each side of me. And you know what? I feel like a midget compared to these two giants that are walking by. But not, you know what? Not just in stature, but they're just giants in everything that they do. And they have great philosophy. I love their events. They had their show, Ghost Lab. If you guys are not privy to it, you guys seriously got to look it up, because Ghost Lab was one of the early shows that came on, and in my opinion, one of the best shows that came on. So everybody, without further ado, the one and only Brad Klinge and the handsome devil-may-care bear man himself, Barry Klinge. Guys, let's bring you guys on. There we are. Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Man, you're gonna make me cry. A little tear come my eye there.
No, let's not get sentimental now, Barry.
He's saying people are always asking what he's doing next. It's like, wow, no one ever gives a crap of what we're doing next. No one ever asks us that.
Well, hey, because you guys are always busy. That's why. You know what? I'm going to tell you, you guys, for two guys that claim that every so often I hear you say, well, we've slowed down a little bit. You guys just pick up another event and you're running with it. And we're going to talk about some of the events that I have experienced with you guys. And I'm going to say that if anybody ever wants to do something great, you go to a Klinge Brothers event. Hands down, nicest event out there, because it's one for the people, and that's what I like. But anyway, guys, I first of all, let's do a shameless plug. Why? Because I can, and it's my show. They're authors, Chasing Ghosts, Texas Style. And you know why I like this book? Not because of the cover.
Because you're in it.
No, I'm in it. Not because of the content. But I'm on the back cover, baby. Look at that. Look at that. So if you guys, but no, seriously, it really is a great book. And if you guys get a chance, pick this up and read it. And you guys will understand the bottom line of how these guys really work. Now, Bearman, let me ask you this. We all know that Brad got into this. Excuse me. Brad got into this by actually shooting a video in Gettysburg and capturing phantom Union soldiers on the battlefield itself.
Right.
So let me ask you this: how did you get involved in it? I'm kind of afraid to find out, but
I got in it for the money, Tim.
Yeah, right. There's no, wait a minute, there's no money here.
That didn't go
That's
far.
why he's still in it. He's still trying to
I'm
find
still
it.
trying to find the money. Now my story's a little more, I guess, boring, but so I've always growing up in the elementary school library, you get to pick out a book. I was always picking out the ghost books and the phantom books and the mystery books, and just kind of was intrigued by that. And so going through my, adolescent teenage years, I always watched the shows, like That's Incredible, and the mystery shows and things like that. So I had this internal interest in it. I never investigated. I never went out seeking things, anything like that. Well, when Brad filmed his video, that was in 1990, the summer of 1990. I was in the Navy, stationed down in Florida, in Miami, and him and my parents were actually, that trip where he filmed it on, were actually coming down to see me eventually, and then drive home. So when he got there, he showed me the video that he caught, and I was like, no way. I was just kind of very just non-believer, like that's crazy, because it's very real. I mean, it is real. It just looks like real people. And so the story behind it when they disappeared and all, I was like, man, I was just blown away. So shoot, fast forward, that was 1990. Fast forward to 2000, really probably 2006. Kind of the shows were coming around. Brad was watching. Brad actually joined another team here in San Antonio on his own, and he just wasn't feeling it. He's like, man, I could do this stuff myself. I don't like the way they're doing it. Blah blah blah. And if you know Brad, he's going to do it himself. So I was at a party at his house, a barbecue, it was a birthday party, and he recently went to Alcatraz on a trip, San Francisco for a trip. Went to Alcatraz on a tour, a nighttime tour. And he caught some EVPs that'll blow you away. I mean, just people talking in the cells, cell door slamming. And at that point, I've never heard an EVP. This is 2005, 2006. I've never heard something like that. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, that noise was not there. I was really just blown away with the whole EVP thing. He said, hey, I'm thinking about forming like a group where, just like these TV shows, they go out. And I said, dude, I'm in. Let's do it. And so I owned a handy Sony Handycam, so I was officially the camera guy on the team because I owned a camera. And we got some friends together, and we went to some investigations, and it just really took off. We caught probably some of our best evidence when we first started as Everyday Paranormal prior to any TV show, hands down. Some of the best stuff we've caught. In that very first investigation, we caught everything: EVPs, videos, things moving by themselves, and just all sorts of craziness. And I was hooked. So that's where the thing started, is in about 2006, 2007. And then, very quickly after, we got Ghost Lab, and it was history, and it's history now. So,
well, I think that's pretty neat that you got so much early on, because so many of us have toiled in the trenches and have got just a smattering of stuff. And I got to tell you what, we're going to talk about that EVP we got in Gettysburg that kind of blew me away. And then you guys got other EVPs from Gettysburg when we were all there. I think it's personally the makeup of you two guys, the way you guys work together, the way you guys have a system. But let's go back to ancient history. Let's go back to when, well, all of our beards were brown and darker. So we're going to go back a few years now when I first met you guys. I remember when you guys were at I believe it was Iron Island. And I just loved the way you guys actually conducted yourselves. And I love the way that you guys had really gone and were able to create a great atmosphere for an investigation. Brad, when we were talking about Ghost Lab, and of course you guys had the huge trailer that you guys had all this gear and everything in, that you guys could really work with all your audio. Do you think that trailer, because now a lot of people now are going for the lighter approach where we're not taking so much. Do you think that helped or hindered you guys when you first went out there in the field with the actual Ghost Lab itself?
Well, you cut out there for a second. What was the main crux of the question?
I wanted to know is, do you think that when you had all that gear that you were kind of schlepping along with that big ghost, I mean, that big trailer was huge. I always remember that. Do you think that helped or hindered when you were really out there investigating?
The lab was really good for several reasons. First of all, we didn't have every time we went somewhere, we would have to either pitch a tent outside and it was freezing cold, or it was raining, or it was boiling hot. We had at least, something that protects us from the weather and our equipment. And we had a team now that was sitting on there with this equipment, and we could just keep running. We could investigate, we could drop stuff off. They could listen to it or review it as we go back in for more. And they can call us and say, hey, you got something over here in the living room like 20 minutes ago. Oh, okay. Let's go back in there and let's focus the investigation. So it really helped us like bird dog, an investigation to get to where the hot spots might be at the time, or, just the more real-time investigation. And the Ghost Lab helped that simply because, we could put it anywhere, and it was out of sight. It was out of mind. It wasn't causing contamination of anything because it was, outside the facility, completely isolated. So what helped?
I'll tell you what, I was so impressed when we were on, of course, the Niagara episode, Fort Niagara episode, because you guys were so kind to bring in moi to Fort Niagara, and it was a lot of fun. But what I was impressed by was the fact that you guys did the extra mile. You guys, use data sets. That's something that nobody uses anymore. Why don't you guys explain what a data set is and why it was so important? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because too many people now don't rely on any kind of like science. Everything is, whatever you can buy, at the at the Costco of paranormal events.
Well, the data loggers, I mean,
yes,
really what it boils down to is just upping your chances to catching something. Because you see and we did it when we first started. We didn't have data loggers when we first started. We rock around with the K2 and poking here, and I got EMF here, and just the typical what we saw, what we're trying to develop ourselves. But the data loggers allow you to collect any kind of data, EMF, humidity, temperature, whatever you want to capture. They make a gadget for it. Takes readings every 2 to 3 seconds or so, puts it out on a nice graph. Brad developed that actual software that you can see for an entire, like say 24 hours, even when you weren't there, of what the EMF was like, what the temperature was like. The main reason we use data loggers is because it helps us correlate evidence. So we got really good at it to where we would, let's say we find an EDP. We can go on that time stamp and find what EDP and then go back. Oh, look, there's an EMF anomaly there. We got really good at it to where we were actually finding the EMF anomaly and going backwards and say, hey, check around that time. And sure enough, more times than none, there was actually an EDP or some sort of something happened on audio when an EMF spike happened. So we just recently did one here in Church that we're from, where we caught EMF, video, all of that correlated together just because we had a data logger. If we didn't have that, we wouldn't have that information. But it just allows you to kind of just throw it out there hands-free and don't have to worry about it, and it's collecting data for you. Let the equipment kind of help you.
To me, that when I first was exposed to that, I think that was probably one of the biggest things that just blew my mind about you guys, because you guys were doing something and nobody else was doing. And you guys were always, to me, you guys were always one step ahead of the rest of the ghost shows. And I'm gonna bring up one of my favorite, there's two favorite episodes. One, of course, is the Tombstone episode. That was great. But now I can't remember which prison you guys were in, and you guys recreated a riot, because we just did something close to that at the Mansfield Reformatory. What do you guys tell me about where that was, and the reason why you recreated a scene.
So that was the Montana State Prison in Deer Lodge, Montana. It was out in the middle of
DFE, Montana.
nowhere. And back in, I think it was the 60s or in the 1970s, there was a big riot where, a couple of guards got killed and they took the tower, and it was, all in the headlines and everything. But the purpose of it is that was kind of, it's called an error cue. That's what we termed it as an error cue, because when you're looking at time and you're looking at space, these prisons and this land and these different places, energy operates in frequency, and they have certain frequencies during time that are the highest. Battlefields are notorious for these things because obviously the battle is a high spike in frequency because of all the energy, the emotion, the trauma, all of that kind of stuff, the death. So there's certain places that have certain peaks of frequency that we call it in time. And since this was a prison, obviously prison's not a very good place to be consistently, but because this riot happened in a very short period of time, we feel that if we try to recreate it exactly or as close to his history as possible, we can match the frequency and almost see into the past and have the past see into us. Barry and I demonstrate this with a rope. And like when you double dutch the old jump rope and you're double dutching, and we do that, we make the ropes, and then as we get them close together, and all of a sudden when they touch, they twirl around each other real quick, and then they pop off. It's because those frequencies are matching, they're equal, and now they're touching, and now I can see into that time and they can see into ours. So that's the idea when we do those error cues. And the Montana State Prison, we had ex-prisoners who were volunteering, and they were putting on the stripes. And then we had Steve Hawk, who dressed up like a cop, and we had Corey and Steve Harris they were prisoners down there, and man, they got rough. And we investigate around it, and we've done that time and time again. It's been very successful more times than not.
Well, let me just quickly touch upon something that happened when we were in Gettysburg. Now, you guys had a great event in Gettysburg. It was a tour. It was, oh my God, it was so much fun. It was a tour of the place. You guys went to Antietam. You guys did so much homework about the Antietam battle, the Gettysburg battle. To get a chance to drive around Gettysburg was amazing with you guys. But the one thing, and I'm going to set it up and I'll let you guys talk about it. The one thing that blew my mind was that it was such a busy day. There were tourists all over the place. Gettysburg, of course, is a big tourist town. But when you go to Pickett's Charge, you walk out, because it's a mile between the Virginia State Monument and the copse of trees, the bloody angle. That was the center point of the Confederate attack on July 3rd, 1863. We walked out there, the group of us, you guys leading, walked out to the halfway point, and it was a little gully. Always remember, it was just a little swale. And we fanned out, and we all had audio recorders. And Barry had said fire and all that. And I said, do you guys want me to do the manual of arms? Which is because that's, as a history nerd, of course, I would know that. And the manual of arms was make ready, aim, fire. Then you count like 3 to 5 seconds, because that's how long it would take for the smoke to start dissipating. And you would yell reload and then come to the ready. Tell everybody what was the EVP that we got at that point?
Well, the manual arms that you did, it was spot on. It was like you said, it was definitely quiet. Nobody was out there. It was
amazing.
So quiet. And you could hear your voice forever. And as soon as you said, I don't know if it was right as you said reload or fire. I think it was fire.
Reload.
Reload.
Right.
You said reload.
Reload is the last thing, and then you come to the ready. Yeah.
You hear what's distinctly a volley of musket
Volley.
fire. I mean,
Yeah.
like not just pow. I mean, like just like a volley of them, and it definitely was a musket rifle type sound that happened immediately after you said reload.
It
And
was. I got to tell you guys, as a Civil War reenactor, had gone through the end of the 125th anniversaries of the battles, and then being an active participant in all of the major 130th anniversary battles, and we're talking, 10,000 reenactors. We're talking unbelievable horses and live artillery and and all this stuff going on. The sound of a pop of a percussion musket, and then you hear that it's the percussion sound afterwards that you hear. And it was like 4 or 5 shots. All I can say is I remember I looked, because now Brad had gone and isolated it. And he goes, listen to this. I put the headset on. I went, just holy crap. It was amazing. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever heard. Brad, you've got some incredible software, first of all. What is the one thing that you personally look for in something like that to catch? Because I mean, you were able to isolate the sound, and you were able to get rid of, like, we all had a little bit of wind, contamination. So you were able to isolate that sound. What's your big go-to as to, I'm going to stop at this point, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to try to bring this sound out and try to definitely, like, I won't say erase, but either eliminate or lessen that wind sound.
Well, so it depends on where the anomaly is on the audio. So, I listen to the whole thing, obviously, because you never know when something's going to happen. I mean, we just got lucky that it happened on, while you were doing the commands, which we've seen it on that spot happen before. We've got cannon fire. We've got other things.
got the rebel.
On
We
these
caught the
things.
rebel yell in that same spot.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So, and so we're just listening. And then when we hear that, what is when you're listening to it, and when you listen to audio for as long as we have, you can hear the ambient sounds, and when something's off. Now, sometimes you find what's off, and you just cut it, isolate it, and then you take the ambient noise, you cut it out, and you paste it over the top, and you lift it off of there. And that way you can hear everything that's underneath. And so that's what we do, is you find those weird things, and you lift that sound, and then they become very clear. And that's what we do, is we don't manipulate, edit it that much, because the more you do to it, you're starting to degrade it, and
Right.
it's losing quality. But if you can just take the ambient noise off it and amplify it, and you hear the sound, that's a great AVP any old day.
I have to say that I've heard a lot of EVPs before, but I've never heard with that recoil. That to me, that percussion recoil, that to me simply blew my mind. I was not ready to hear that. And now, Brad, or Bear, you got a child's voice in that area. That to me blew me away, because I wasn't sure. I wonder where that came from.
It was actually during the same session, a little towards the end of the session. And I figured it said something like, I want to go home is what it said. But it was definitely a little, like, male child.
Which wouldn't be unusual for,
and if you go in our theories, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be from the Civil War. It could be any, like, out there when we're yelling the manual of arms, we could be creating an EDP if someone later on records us, doing that. But definitely said, I want to go home. It was very, like, childlike, and it was very clear, super clear.
When I heard that one, I have to say, that one gave me goosebumps, because I was not prepared to hear, because it's usually you get on an EVP, and you guys that do EVPs, you guys will get a sound, you'll get a word, maybe 2 words, but that was a sentence. When you get a sentence, that's just mind-blowing to me. That's just totally mind-blowing. And I got to tell you guys, that was one of the best events that I've been at. Of course.
And the other cool thing about it was we had all those other people out there, and they all have their audio. Remember, we spread them out through the field,
Right.
and you don't know, because I did more research on or more analysis, and I actually took a Google Earth shot of that field, and I placed everybody where they were sitting. Remember, there was someone in the ditch, and there was someone right outside, and Barry was
Right.
to this side, and there was. So based on a photograph that we took while we're out there, I placed everybody, and then what I want to do is I want to see which recorder captured it, where the sound of the voice, your voice, came from to possibly trigger it, and see who else may have captured, some sort of anomaly, to see if this can be predictable in the future based on a similar setup. So
what's really cool about it, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, only one recorder caught it.
yeah, only one. It was
One.
the
Right.
One that was behind
You were
me.
holding.
It wasn't you. It was
No, Lisa was
behind
holding.
me.
Lisa
Lisa
Hatton
was
was
holding.
holding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One recorder caught it.
And that's the thing that I keep preaching to people. Don't just use one recorder. Use two recorders. Use one just as a base, and then you can use a second one, or have more people around you. Spread them out and record the same session, and then go through it and see what you get. Because I swear, the way that many of the investigators do it now, they miss so much. They miss so much. Now, we're going to go backwards from October to June. Echoes in Shenandoah. That was the Shadows of Shenandoah. That was amazing. And guys, I want to ask you your reactions to this. The Klinge brothers, these boys, they had a relative that fought in the Civil War for the Confederacy. Everybody knows I had my great-great-grandfather and great-great-great-grandfather fight for the Union. We went to the Chancellorsville Wilderness National Parks, their little museum, their little, where we got a chance to go, and we got a chance to talk to a really nice lady there that worked there, and she brought out all these beautiful maps for us, troop movement maps to look. And lo and behold, their ancestors unit overlapped my ancestors unit, like by almost close to a half a regiment. That meant that, and that was at the Widow Tap farm in that field. That meant, and that was a bloodbath. That was an absolute bloodbath. That meant that our ancestors most probably fired on each other. And that's how close we all came to not being here tonight.
Right. I mean, the maps actually show the levels of the regiments and where they were in formation. And the 17th Georgia, which my great-great-great-grandfather was the first in line of that formation. He was literally the defense, looking directly at your relatives, and your relatives' regiments were in the front of their formation. So it is very, very probable that and your grandfather got injured, or he got wounded.
Actually, both of them, great
during that battle, correct?
Both of them both of them were wounded at that battle.
Did my grandfather shoot your grandfather?
I don't know.
It blows your mind. And like Brad said when we were there, it's like, just think, if he was killed or we're killed, we're gone. We're not.
Well, that's where you got that's where the bullet in the belt buckle was from, right?
Yeah.
We believe that's so, because when I did the research on the battles, that was they were attacking in, I won't say entrenched, but well fortified Confederate formations. And they said that the regiment, the 105th Pennsylvania Volunteers, actually were brought off by, I believe, a lieutenant or a second lieutenant. All the other line officers were killed or mortally wounded or greatly wounded. That's how severe that battle was. They took such casualties there that they had to go and incorporate. They had to fuse into the 63rd Pennsylvania after that 1864 battle, because there wasn't enough men to bring those two regiments up to a regimental number. And even by combining the two, they were both so decimated that they really never got any, never made those numbers. So I got to tell you what, when you guys brought me out there, and I always remember I'm standing out there with you guys, and I'm just like, holy crap. Now,
that was a cool part. I mean, we're literally standing exactly where they stood 100,
yeah,
58
yeah. I
years
mean,
ago.
it's mind blowing. But now, Brad, you picked something up. Wasn't it before you picked something up there? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was overwhelmed because, I mean, psychically, I was overwhelmed. Personally, because this was a place that I mean, I had gone there years and years and years ago, but I never got a chance to actually walk and get out onto that actual field. Now, I know what I felt. Something happened to you, Brad. Was the time before, I think, or you
Yeah,
the year
previous to
before.
that?
summer before we went up there, and me, Barry, Kim, Barry's wife, and Troy, we'll call him my son-in-law. We went up there just to do some scouting around and looking at battlefields. And I had I had a thyroid problem. I was actually going to have thyroid surgery, and I was waiting on the doctor to call. Well, they called when I happened to be walking out in the wilderness battlefield. And I'm like, okay. So I took the phone call. Barry and Robert Bradley was with us at the time. They walked way. They were way over by the Texas Monument, way over by the road. And I was on the phone, and as I was talking to the doctor, she was asking me if I could go somewhere quiet. And I said, I'm pretty much in the middle of a field in Virginia. It doesn't get any quieter than this. She says it sounded like I was like at a concert or like at some sort of large event or venue because there was lots of yelling and screaming going on. And I was like, really? So, was she picking up the sounds of the battle on the cell phone? And so Barry and I quickly did an experiment to try to triangulate stuff, and we couldn't get it to happen again. But she didn't know where exactly I was, and she's not in the go. She was just like, hey, can you go somewhere quiet because it sounds like you're in the middle of a concert.
That's
like,
amazing.
No, I'm not.
That's amazing. And this is how people don't understand that sometimes right place, right time, right person, right little piece of equipment that you can pick something up, you can catch something. And that was great. The other things that were really amazing, first of all, it was an honor to go up to the mass grave where your ancestors buried. That was an honor. And believe me, for me to walk up that hill, and may I say, guys, that it was you want to talk about a heart attack hill? That was a heart, and I wasn't in really great shape then. I was doing half steps to get up that last quarter part of that hill.
We don't
that
give out
hill,
freebies. You got to work for it. Our event.
Yeah, yeah, I worked for it on that hill.
Go up there after all. What is it?
But it was well worth it. It was probably, to me, that's an honor to be able to go there and venerate your ancestors and all the men who had passed away. That which battle was he killed in? I can't remember. Or
he was actually killed. He was wounded at a rice depot right outside Sailor's Creek. He left Sailor's Creek. He marched through Sailor's Creek and the small skirmish in Rice Depot. He was wounded. He went to the hospital in Farmville. When the Union took over Farmville, they took over the hospital. He became a POW. Mm-hmm. He died, I think it was like 5 or 6 days after the surrender at Appomattox. So he almost made it to the end of the war. His very first battle was Gettysburg.
That's amazing.
Battle. Made it all the way.
And speak of the devil here. There's Robert Bradley. That was a hill. Yeah. That was a hill. You're right.
We took the hill.
And just to let everybody know, this is the gentleman, Robert Bradley. It was the gentleman that hooked me up and finished my bucket list off for Civil War events. Now, because of him, I have gone and walked and have been at every single battlefield that my great grandfather fought at. And that was amazing. And he took us all to Spotsylvania. And if you're a history nerd like me, it was mind-blowing. It's just mind-blowing. That's the only way I can describe it. Now, the other thing up at the Shenandoah event There was a house. It took place on a resort, beautiful resort. It took place. There was a beautiful lake there. All sorts of things to do. It was truly amazing. There was a house, wasn't there? A 17, it was 1780, 1790s
Yeah,
house.
late 1700s mansion.
We got a chance to investigate, and it was great. But what I did, and I don't know if I should tell these guys that, but because Robert's is on the air here with us, he's in the chat room. I did a little, I won't say seance. I just did a little thing, and we were sitting at the dining room table, and there were some other guests with us, and we got the table to vibrate, and to vibrate heavily, and that was crazy. And that house had so much going on there, just so. Dana, I love Dana. Dana, that house needs a seance. Yeah, I agree, Dana. We'll do that. We'll do that one of these days. But it was an amazing time. And if anybody gets a chance to do one of these private events with the Klinge Brothers, you should do it because they're so down to earth, and it's not pretentious, and it's not like, you got to go and run and you're running from, one hall to another to a hall. These are personal events. These are events that are really just, you get a chance. You really get a chance to go and get a flavor for what we're doing. And plus, on top of it, we all went to Sailors Creek, and we went to Appomattox, which I've only been there twice in my entire life, which was great just to go back and revisit it. But I was going through some photos the other day, and my good buddy Brad here took a photo of me sleeping on the bus on the way home, on the way back to the resort, because I was wiped. You guys wiped out the old guy here.
I think the whole bus was sleeping on the way home. I think we wore them out for sure.
It was amazing. It was just an amazing time. So
we'll talk about it here in a minute, but we're doing it all over again this coming June. But we'll get to
that's right. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what does everybody have to look forward to if you go to this event. And again, I love this event because it is personable, and seriously, you get a chance to go there. It's hands-on. It's total hands-on.
Yeah, June 7th and 8th, we're going back to Gordonsville, the Shenandoah Resort. Tickets have been on sale. They're actually halfway gone. There's about 20 left. We're doing the bus tour. This time we're going to the Wilderness, Spotsylvania, and Chancellorsville battlefields. Most of your food's included. We're going to do an extra ticket item. We got permission to investigate Trevilian Station.
Wow, that's great.
Largest cavalry battle of the Civil War. Custer's headquarters. We actually have access to that. And one of our investigations is going to be at the Exchange Hotel, which is a field hospital during that time. So we got those two investigations plus the mansion. We'll investigate that as well on Friday. So it's 3 investigations in that. The bus tour. Brad and I we're putting the aprons on this time. We're going to be grilling hot dogs and burgers. We're going to be serving y'all some good food, having a great time. The Solstice Sisters are going to be there. Tim, you're going to be there. Richard Estep will be there. They're on our website, klingebros.com. You can go there and buy them now. I'm telling you, I always say it at the same time. I'm not just BSing you that go now because they're going to go. I'm telling you, when they're gone, they're gone. We're keeping them low this time. We had like 60 people last time.
Right.
Cut it in half. We did 2 buses last year. We're only doing 1 bus. It's getting more personal. It just is. And we're not in this for the money. We do this because we love to meet people. We love to get out, do the history. We have a great time. It's just a fun time. So I'm telling you, the price is right. You better get on it now or it's going to be gone. And who knows? We might not be back to Virginia. We'll see how next year goes, but you better get on it, klingebros.com.
Well, the big thing, let's talk about your philosophy of putting on events. Now, I know you guys, we'll talk about the big event you're putting on. You're putting on a ParaCon, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. What's the main goal when you put on an event? Now, what I've always loved, as long as I've known you guys, I've loved the fact that you guys were never above the ticket, the people that come, the participants, the ticket buyers. You guys have always strove to be that step down. And I learned a lot from you guys. I remember way back when I first started, you guys were old hacks at this. You guys were all set to go. I remember when you guys said, I will never go and make anybody pay for an autograph or a photograph. And and that's been my philosophy, because first of all, I'm not as famous as the Klinge Brothers, nor do I have as much hair as the Klinge Brothers, which I really wish I had your hair. But I really thought, you're right, without like fans, without these people that come to see you guys, we'd all be, doing whatever we would be doing, except we wouldn't be, being a part of it. So what is your guys' main goal? What's the thing that you like and you enjoy to achieve at these events? And I know, and seriously, I as someone who has been participating in organized events and stuff, I know that money is not the bottom line anywhere for the three of us.
No, to me, it's just to see people having a good time. I want them to walk away and say,
right,
damn, that was one of the best. That was the funnest times. I made friends. I laughed, and we learned. We got some cool evidence at the same time, and just had a good time. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
I agree.
We have a problem. We've always gone we pile a lot of stuff into an event because we want people to experience like the Shenandoah event. I mean, we had a lot going on, and it might have been too much. It did wear people out, but for the money that you out hard, working, you're making your money, you want to spend it on something. You want to make sure you're spending on something that's quality and it's worth the money. And yeah, we could make money at it. We double the price, and we never sell any tickets for one thing. And we're not. That's just not us. We're not in it for the money. We're in it because we like to hang out with our fans. We like to hang out with our friends. We get to go to cool places and experiencing the things ourselves. But it's just like Brad said. We want people to walk away and say that, like you just said earlier, that was probably the best damn thing
What's
that's ever
funny is
happened.
when Barry and I price these events, we sit down and we look at all the costs, and we were like, okay, what do we have to do to break even? And it's like, and that's what we strive for. It's like if everything's paid for, and that's the main thing.
And we take it in the short sometimes. Sometimes we don't estimate too much. We're in the hole, but that's okay. It's just the way it goes. So
it's something that hey, Kim is online here today. I think it's one of those things that you can tell the difference, because let's face it, all three of us, we go to a lot of events. We all participate in a lot of different little things, big events, little events. And I have to say that you can tell that people are like only having an okay time. And you know why? Because they paid all this money to go to this event. I mean, let's face it, a Comic-Con, that's $45 to go in the Comic-Con on a good day. Something of that nature. Some of these big events are astronomical for prices. And you get a family, or let's say a dad or a mom with a couple kids, all of a sudden there's no money. There's nothing left over. And the kids want to get something to eat, they want to get a couple autographs. You're easily talking, $600-700. Your events are great because people get a chance to go there and they experience it. And if you're a history nerd, and you guys are history nerds, your events are the ones to go to because of the fact that it's so intensive with what you do. And you guys go out of your way to do the research. That to me just blew my mind totally. When I saw the amount of research that you did, I was like,
came out. Yeah.
Oh, I was like, oh my God, it blew me away. But it was like an hour by hour troop movement, what was going on. some of the colors, some of the people that were here and there. It was great. It was great. Now, let's talk about this huge event that you're putting. I won't say, well, it's a good size event. The Llone Star ParaCon. I mean, it's evident that you guys have gone out of your way to go and try to provide something for everybody. And the one thing I'm going to just go and I'm going to beat you to the punch because it blows me away. The vendor room where, you can buy stuff and, celebs are all hanging out there is free. Is free. What the hell is free in this world? That's free. That blew my mind, guys.
It's to your point where you said, you have a family, you have a husband and wife, they have 4 kids, and they want to do something. And I've seen some of these ParaCons, they charge $80 to get into the door, or $50. A family's not going to be able to drop $400 or $500, just to walk in and look around.
Exactly.
And we want people to come there in droves. That's what we want. We want the entire community to come and experience the celebrities they see on TV and have a couple of bucks to spend on trinkets or readings or, just things that they are not used
to. Or this book.
or that book. We may or may not be selling that there. Barry and I are going to be so busy doing other stuff. We probably won't even, we may not even have it out. We don't know.
Yeah, we've always wanted to do we did one years and years ago called Phantom Fest downtown San Antonio. It was similar, free to get in. It was pretty successful. Had some good guests there and such. But we go to the Northeast, we go to the Midwest. It just seems like that's where most of the stuff is at. It's like there's a lot going on in Texas, and we got a lot of stuff to offer. Let's try to. And when we say in our hometown, and it literally is down the street from where Brad lives. I mean, it's in our hometown, and we just thought, hey, let's just try it. Let's just roll the dice and see where it goes. And it's also a fundraiser. We're donating any profit that we make is going to the Special Olympics program in
that's awesome.
The local area.
That's fantastic.
But
that's fantastic.
It's like I said, it's just another way of showing people a good time, introducing people to the paranormal. People down here have never, like some of the TV celebrities and that. People down here don't see them unless they go, Michigan ParaCon, or they go rarely you have these people coming down to Texas. Thomas Winterton from the Skinwalker Ranch has never been to San Antonio ever.
I can't wait.
And so
I envy you guys because he's great. He's someone that when you told me that he was going to be there, that blew my mind because I didn't think he went anywhere. I thought he was one of those recluses
he rarely does, and when he does, it's usually around Utah. He doesn't really travel and do a lot of stuff. But we knew a guy that knew a guy, and we got him to come down. But we got a lot. The vendor hall alone, we got like 60 vendors. It's a big, huge vendor hall. There's actually 2 rooms. Separate from that, in the same complex, we have a speaker rally. We have 100. We've sold over 100 tickets right now. We can max out at 160. So that's going to go tomorrow. Thursday, we have a huge social media campaign that's going to be launched just to get people in the door. We want the vendors to make a lot of money. We want autographs sold. We want the people that are here helping us to make some change and offering it for free. That helps that out a lot. So
the t-shirts, we have t-shirts that are being made. That's part of the special ed program in the district. It's a 18+ program where those kids learn life skills and how to fend for themselves, and they've started a shirt making business, and they're the ones who are going to be making our event shirts.
Yeah, I videotaped them today. They started today. They're actually got the sublimation heat transfer with the shirt. They're putting it down and they're pumping out shirts. Every bit of money that those shirts make goes right to their program.
That's great.
It's theirs. So we'll have our Special Olympic athletes will actually be there, kind of meeting everybody. Special Olympics Texas will be there, and so we got food, we got jewelry, we got art, we got you name it. We got a guy that makes chili, Texas chili, puts it in a mason jar. You can take some Texas chili home if you want. So we have full snack bar, and there's a lot going on. And like I said, Brad and I, for the last 2-3 months, have been every day getting this thing going and, doing this and doing that. There's a lot that goes into it that I didn't realize. So hats off to like Brad Blair and people like that put on these big ParaCons. Ours is nothing to the size of that, but man, that's a year-long commitment just to put on a show one time. So
it's amazing. People, I hate when I hear people complain whether an event is small or it's a mega event, that they complain about it. I think to myself, do you know how much planning has gone into this? Do you know how much work has gone into this? Do you know the blood, sweat, and tears and sweat every time you get a chance to like sit down, somebody's calling you. And then the day of the event and you get new problems that arise. Who are some of the people that are going to be there?
Well, shoot, I wish I had my poster in front. I got so many. I'm trying to remember the names. So we have, Jason Hawes was going to come. We had some, he couldn't make it. So we have Sherry from the Ghost Hunters show is going to be there. We got Richard Estep. We have Lyle Blackburn, who's a Bigfoot guy here in Texas. We got Terry Lovelace.
I met him. He's cool.
Terry Lovelace, who's a UFO guy. We have Beth Darlington, who's is it Darlington or Darling? Darlington. She's from London. We met her in Australia, actually. She lives in London now. She's coming over from London to speak. We got Thomas Winterton, Mark Marinaccio from the Skinwalker Ranch show.
Deborah Wilson's going to be there.
We have Deborah Wilson, our friend Deborah Wilson from Mad TV. And
she's great.
The different video games. And she's actually Daisy Duck on Disney. She does the voice of Daisy Duck. Huge. She's coming, and she's crazy. You're going to enjoy her. She's nuts. We got Greg Lawson. We got Nikki Folsom. We got Dakota Lawrence, who's going to do a gallery reading for us. Who else? I don't want to leave anybody off. Aaron Sagers. We got Shane Pittman. They're actually doing an investigation that sold out very early at an old theater nearby. They're coming. I think that's it. We have psychic mediums.
Pull up the list now to make sure that we're not leaving anybody out.
Roll up the poster. Let's make sure.
and most important, you've got the amazing Klinge Brothers.
Like Brett said, we might have a blank table. Who did I miss?
No, I said that, we may or may not be.
I might have a table, but it might be not occupied because I'm gonna be out. We had a meeting last night. My son and his girlfriend, my wife said, "Guess what y'all are doing the 27th of January?" Like, this is there's not a draft. You're being, you're coming in, man. So we got all the family, our whole family's helping. So there's a lot going on.
Everybody. That was everybody on the poster.
We got a VIP. We got a VIP pack. Check this VIP package out. The night before, we're doing 2 tour buses, 2 55-passenger buses. We're busting everybody down. The VIPs downtown San Antonio on the Riverwalk. We're having a full spread Tex-Mex fajita enchilada buffet. Mariachis, the whole 9 yards. We're walking out of there. We're going to get on a riverboat from the restaurant, do the river tour of the Riverwalk, come back, get out of that boat, walk across the street to the Alamo, and Brad and I are going to give the San Antonio ghost tour of the Alamo and the surrounding buildings around the Alamo, and then we're going to go back, and that's the night before. So,
wow,
yeah, it's
wow.
It's Solstice Sister Sunday. We got an event.
Solstice Sister Sunday, yeah, for sure. That's on Sunday at a haunted mansion that we have access with, and they're doing like a brunch where they're going to talk about what they do. They're going to offer their services that Sunday. They all have booths on Saturday. Man, it's a family-oriented event. There's nothing, you bring the whole family. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to see, a lot of cool stuff. I tell you what, Brad, we kind of like winking at each other. You don't have to give us an answer, but we want to invite you down to the Texas ParaCon. What do you think? You think about it. Don't say what yes or no. I'm sure you have to ask the boss. But we're extending the invitation to you to come on down to Texas ParaCon.
I thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Let me know later if you want to come or not.
I'm still a little shell shocked from flying from last year, but
yeah, we'll get you here in one piece. We promise.
You mean I won't have to? You mean I won't have to go and shack up with John Zaffis in the men's room?
No, there won't be a body. There won't be a body cavity search on this trip. So
listen, it ain't a good flight unless I get a body cavity search. You guys are tough, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know two of you are always running, and this is getting closer and closer to the
2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, to the day, man. It's going to be going. Stick around, guys. I want to thank you properly off the air, but anything you want to go and just tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, where you guys are found, and
it's easy. Scroll across your thing right there, KlingeBros.com. You can go there. There are tickets that you can buy. The speaker passes for the Llone Star ParaCon are $40 each. The gallery reading is $50, and the Social Sister is $25. Like I said, the vendor hall is for free. If you don't want to spend the money, you don't have to. You can show up. You get to meet the celebrities, not just the vendors. They'll all be in the vendor hall. That's completely free. But go to KlingeBros.com if you want to do that. If you want to get on that Virginia event in June, I'm telling you, you better go to KlingeBros.com. You just click on the Shadows of Shenandoah poster. That'll take you right to the description of what it's all offered. You can buy tickets right there. We'll also be at the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash in July. And we'll also be at the ParaCon. I think you're going to be there.
I'm going to be at ParaCon.
Yeah, we're going to be there in May.
Yeah,
we're excited about that one too.
I'm telling you, you know what? When you listen, guys, when you rub elbows with the Klinge Brothers, you rub elbows with the entire world. That's the way that works, guys. It's just the way it is. Just the way it is. Thank you guys for being on tonight. And man, much success. Again, your events are probably some of the best events out there because nobody is like the celebs aren't like huddled in little masses, like in little parts, little areas. They're out there, they're shaking hands, they're taking pictures, and they are out there just to go and meet fans. And that's what's so important. That should be what the bottom line is of every event. So,
and
guys,
let me mention one more thing. A lot of the celebrities that we did invite, they're coming. They're giving up their time and some of their things that they usually ask for. They're giving that up to be here for the fundraiser. So, we're flying them here, we're putting them up. But they've waived a lot of things to make that happen. So we appreciate everybody that signed up for this thing, and hopefully, if we decide to do it again, we can continue the gesture. So we appreciate it. And like I said, all these kids and stuff, they're all going to be appreciative of the things we do for them.
Oh, so. Yeah. And I also love the fact that profits go to something that is just so important, and that you're employing these kids to go and put the shirts together. I love that. I think more people need to do that. Guys, I'll be back in a couple seconds, and thank you guys again for coming. Because
thank you, man.
I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what's written on the bathroom walls. Klinge Brothers are cool. Klinge Brothers are cool.
You know what's written on the bathroom walls. You and Zaffis, right?
Hey, we had a lot of hours to read what was on those.
We write on there, but we put your phone number. So.
Hey, what can I say? You make a couple bucks here and there, it all works. Okay, we'll be back, guys, in a couple minutes. Guys, Klinge Brothers, aren't they great? They are just two of the nicest guys that you ever want to meet. And I'm going to tell you what, they've always been just top-notch guys. Top-notch guys down home. And when you know them, they're people of their word, and their events are great. Anyway, this has been Tim Shaw. I've been listening to Black Cat Lounge. Where else? On anywhere else that you're listening to, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. And remember, I'll see you next week. And where can you find us? We're always right here. We're right next to the dumpster transfer station. Ciao, babies. See you guys. It's always been great. Bye-bye.